Hello, everyone. My name is Jenny and I am an astrologer and an energy healer and teacher. I channel the energy of Archangel Metatron in bringing forward these messages and how what's happening astrologically affects each of us and the collective, as above, so below, as within, so without. So that's what this channel is about. We're going to speak a little bit before we get into the full moon in Capricorn. We're going to speak about the Mars retrograde that's coming just before that full moon in Capricorn. Mars being our drive, our ambition, our like, let's go get them kind of thing. No one's going to stop me. I'm going to do this. Mars has been with the South Node now for a couple of weeks. So we've already been feeling that retrograde energy because the South Node is about the past. It's about what's behind us. It isn't about moving forward. So we've already been feeling a lot of that retrograde energy. That can lead to feelings of being frustrated, annoyed is another word that's good for Mercury or Mars retrograde. But this Mars retrograde, this 2-month period, is very significant because Mars does not usually spend this much time in a sign. It's very unusual. He's been in Aquarius for a while now, and as he's been slowing down, that coming up to the South Node, getting ready for his retrograde, he's going to be in Aquarius until the middle of November. But some dates to make note of, like during his retrograde period, I explained how all of the planets fall, like say that the equator is between my hands right now. The sun gets this high, like he was when he entered Cancer, and he gets this low when he entered Capricorn in the way that he aspects the Earth. And when planets travel outside of that, it's called out of bounds. And on July 7th, Mars in Aquarius is going to move out of bounds. And that's where, when a planet is out of bounds, it's sort of like anything can happen. Mars in Aquarius anyway, because with Uranus, all we know is that there's going to be change, but we don't know what the change is going to be. It's the lesson of letting go and just letting the chips fall where they may. And this is a lot of combustible energy because Mars fire in the air sign of Aquarius and Uranus's sign, where, Uranus can, it's like a turn on a dime kind of thing, so we're all feeling that. We're all feeling like we're not so secure right now, and we don't really know what's going to happen next kind of thing. So that's why I was talking about with the solstice video, how important it is for us to stay centered, to be nurturing ourselves, to be reassuring ourselves, to understand that, we're being held by spirit, and that this isn't just up for grabs what's happening right now. It's everything is being directed by spirit, that we're all guided. So the Mars retrograde happens pretty much between the South Node of the United States, which always South Nodes in each of our charts denotes something negative or something that we want to work on. And it then retrogrades back to the Pluto of the United States, Pluto having the energy of the phoenix rising from the ashes, and also the Tower card in tarot. So very significant that it's happening at those points in the United States natal chart. And from August 21st to September 5th, even though he'll be moving forward, he's going to be on, basically, because within 1 degree or just a couple of degrees of the Pluto, the Tower card energy of the United States. What the natal chart of the United States says is, with their Pluto interpretation, so if the United States were a person, I would know that the person in their past, or a relative, an ancestor of theirs, raped and stole the resources of the earth and abused their power in order to gain wealth. That's what the Pluto of the United States says. So we'll see what happens when Mars, then in Capricorn, at his degree of exaltation, where he is the feistiest, the strongest, has the most energy. We'll see what he has to say about those things in relation to the United States during that period. So he will not clear his shadow, meaning that he won't come to the point where he began his retrograde until October 10th. So, it's the retrograde period is 2 months, and then he's going to take all of that time from August 28th until October 10th to clear his shadow, and won't move out of Aquarius into Pisces until November 15th. So important to remember, again, that people have short fuse right now. So, if there's anyone being confrontational, always a good idea to say, I hear you, or walk away, or maybe, kind of keep that person at arm's length as long as possible. So when this full moon occurs, Pandora will be on the south node of the United States. And, Saturn is the ancient ruler of Aquarius. So Saturn has something to say about this Mars retrograde as well. Because before we knew there was a Uranus, Saturn was the ruler of Aquarius. So they both are like the co-rulers, or one is the ancient, one is the modern ruler. But this full moon, when it happens, will be at the time that the nodal return of the United States is happening. So that's when the south node of the moon will meet with the south node of the United States, and the north node in the sky right now will meet with the north node of the United States. So that's one thing that's important to note too, that because anytime we have a nodal return, which starts about age 18 and then it's like 37, and it's not like a set, because the nodes, I think it's like, I want to say it's 18 and a half years, but that's when like significant things happened. Like you met people, there could have been a change in direction. It's always a significant time for everybody when the nodal return happens. And the nodal return of the United States happens with Pandora on its south node and at the time of this full moon. Then the full moon happens at 5 degrees of Capricorn. Saturn is at 5 degrees of Capricorn. The full moon will be at 6 degrees, but they're less than a degree apart. So, and Saturn's the ruler of the full moon anyway, because it's happening in Capricorn. So when I was writing down that it was at 5 degrees, and I, changed, Metatron said it heralds a change in direction. The Sun and Mercury are in Cancer, again, talking to us about nurturing and how safe do we feel, and what is our foundation. So those are things that are going to come up for all of us. The full moon is always a time of illumination, releasing. It's a good time to do healing for things. If you have a ritual, like where you decide you're going to give up this or give up that, maybe negative thinking or whatever it is. Good to have like a little ritual. When the sun and the moon are together, that's when, and we can't see the moon, that's the new moon. That's when we plant the seed. When the sun and the moon are opposing, the sun in Cancer and then the moon in Capricorn, that's when things are illuminated. That light from the sun shines on the moon and things come to us. So a great night to, have dreams and be inspired, and to just be aware that issues of security and trust are up for, review right now. However that happens for you. And then during the full moon, we've got the asteroid Spirit at 27 degrees of Leo. 27 degrees of Leo is where the eclipse was in August of last year, that the eclipse, that solar eclipse that went over the United States. So we have the asteroid Spirit there, conjunct Ceres, who is about procreation and sustainability. and the mother energy. And then I made a whole list of everybody that's aspecting that, because I noted that, and he pointed that out to me, because Spirit then is aspecting the galactic center. The galactic center is the gate of the gods. It's where our sun gets downloads from the central sun. And I've explained this in previous videos about the radio signal that astronomers know comes from that supermassive black hole that's millions of light years big. So in aspect to that then, so we've got Spirit and the galactic center. We have Magdalene, the asteroid Magdalene, which obviously Mary Magdalene, and the asteroid Heimdal. So Metatron's energy. We've got Juno, another energy of the divine feminine. She's like the divine mate energy. And Sedna, who is about resistance to the patriarchy. And then Osiris, who carries the Christ energy or a resurrection energy. Lilith, who is about equality and like the female feistiness. And Vesta, who carries the energy of the high priestess. And then Manwi, who is about the law of grace. Rhadamanthus is judgment, like the card of judgment in tarot. And then the Pholus, which I've talked about before being like a turning point, is on the galactic center at the time of that. And so Metatron said about all of these energies that it was like to think of it as a fortress around all of us, holding us and keeping us safe kind of thing. And all of them then together are aspecting Mercury in Cancer. And he wanted me to talk about the Sabian symbol of that degree that Mercury's on. So they're all like 26 to 28 degrees of all of the different constellations. But when something is at the same degree, they're all having a conversation, is what that means. Like they're all sharing energy. So that energy is like a fortress for all of us. And Mercury is the messenger. Mercury is sitting at the Sabian symbol for that degree. These were written in the 20s. So I'm going to change the words a little bit. It is a Native American girl bringing home a boyfriend from college to introduce him to her tribe. And so what it's about is inclusion. And it's about cultural differences being set aside because there's a relationship now with the person that's different. So it's about being open and, open borders. Oh, cancel that. I'm not saying anything political whatsoever, but it's about, I don't know where that just came from, but it's about, letting down our guard and thinking of the other as different, and they're just after this and they just want this, and it's all of that silly nonsense really, because it's always like a different country that we're upset with, and in this generation, and it was this country maybe a generation before. But anyway, it's about inclusion and accepting others from other cultures and others that are different from us, other races, other religions. So that's the message, and that's what they're all talking to us about in that energy of the full moon. So then we're going to talk about the rest of what's happening over these next couple of weeks. We've got on the 29th of June, Mercury entering Leo. And Mercury is going to begin his retrograde then later in the month. He's going to be in Leo until September 7th. So Mercury in Leo is, it always governs our sun. Leo is about shining. And it's our gifts of creativity. And so as the North Node, which is in Leo now, is sort of wrapping up, he's not quite done, but he's close to being finished with the sign of Leo. Mercury is coming in there and talking to us and giving us messages about like how we can put into practical, Mercury, Virgo, how we can put into practice now our creative gifts and what we can do to move those forward. I want to just be clear again with the retrograde energies, even though there's a lot of planets retrograde, because Chiron will move retrograde soon as well. Metatron always says about retrograde energies, it's never the wrong time to do the right thing. So, so keep that in mind when I'm saying this about Mars. If you're getting like, oh, I'm going to start this, then yeah, then start that. So it isn't like where all of us are just going to sit around and twiddle our thumb for the next couple of months. But, just when Mercury is in Leo, Mercury wants us to, start using our creative gifts and start shining. We need to, shine who we are. And so that's going to be going on until September 7th. And he will go into a shadow period on the 8th of July. So make a note, it's at 11 degrees too, by the way. So make a note of what's going on for you on the 8th of July. That might be, back up for review. Anytime a planet's retrograde, it's when we're reworking, reviewing, something. I'm going over old plans kind of thing. On June 30th, Mercury will square Uranus, trine Chiron, and then the Mars and Sun will be in what's called a quincunx energy. That's an energy of like a spurring forward kind of thing, even though Mars is moving back. And Venus will also be in that quincunx energy with Mars, which not really sure why I wrote that down, because that isn't even possible. But so anyway, skip that. But what's significant about that date, June 30th, is that, that can be where we've got like that racing mind, and it can kind of become negative because it's trining Chiron in Aries, and then with that Mars Sun kind of thing. So, just make a note on June 30th, deep breaths, and, just letting things unfold. On July 3rd, Mercury, the messenger, will meet with the North Node in Leo. So this is where you could get a piece of information, an idea, something that helps you to move forward into your future. And then on July 4th, we're going to start we'll be feeling Chiron stationing, because he is going to start moving backward then on the 5th, as Mercury is opposing Mars. The Sun in Cancer will trine Jupiter. So that can be an emotional day. On the 8th, then, Mercury enters shadow, and the Sun trines Neptune that same day. So that's definitely an inspirational energy with the Sun trining Neptune. And that could be just, something about being creative at home or with your family, Cancer. On the 9th, we're going to see Mercury square Jupiter as Venus enters Virgo. So just like I was talking about with Uranus being in his fall in Taurus, Venus is in fall in Virgo. So if you have Venus in Virgo, Venus likes to go out and have fun. And, she's like one of the benefics. They're called like one of the happy and, beneficial energies on the planets up there. But in Virgo, she's stingy. She doesn't feel very pretty, and she's not getting the love that she deserves. So that's important to note, because remember that Venus is governing Uranus in Taurus. So Uranus will be in his fall, Venus will be in her fall, and that starts on the 8th. This is where your attention is going to be drawn to, like, cleaning out the closet, getting rid of clothes that you no longer wear. You're going to want everything to be, in its place and be organized. It's a great time to get organized. Perfect time to get organized. And then, yeah, you might want to, Venus and Virgo can be gardening. But it's just, you want to just keep in mind that light and happy Venus and Leo energy, then that's going to change on the 8th, and then on the 9th. And that's going to happen just as Chiron begins his retrograde. Then on the 10th of July, Jupiter will station. So Jupiter will come to a halt. He's going to be going pretty slowly. Actually, he's already now at the degree of his retrograde, but he's just moving really very slowly. But he's not even going to move another half of a degree before he moves backward then on July 11th. And on the 11th, he will have a conversation with Venus in Virgo. So they're going to be talking about worth and value. And that could be like for, the currency, any kind of monetary, any money situation in the whole world, like currency in the markets, things like that. They're also going to be talking to us about what our sense of self-worth is. And then she will trine Uranus and come into aspect with Chiron, because Uranus and Chiron are both in the beginning of the signs that they're in. So that can be a trying day, is what he is talking about. That is July 11th, and then that's as Jupiter begins to move forward. And I believe, and I'm not saying that Metatron said this, but I believe that the events that we've been talking about, that we're leading up to, especially in relation to water, are going to start happening at some point after Jupiter starts moving forward. And then for that new moon, a partial solar eclipse, that's going to be in opposition to Pluto, to the Tower card. That's July 12th. So I'll talk about that more on my next video. Also, just to note that when this full moon comes in Capricorn, what's clustered around the North Node, which is where we're sending our energy, like where we want to go, where we're going, the direction that we're going. And now with it being in Leo, we're talking about our creativity and then what makes our heart happy. There a lot of people say, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to be doing anything. You're supposed to be following your heart. Whatever speaks to you and makes you happy and makes you feel fulfilled and brings you joy, that is your life path. There's nobody instructing you on what to do next. They guide us, Metatron, the angels, they guide us along our own soul's path. And we don't have to, say, okay, one of my contracts was to, channel Metatron while I'm doing these astrology readings. But Metatron never said to me when I was asking, what am I supposed to do? He never said to me, oh, this is what you're supposed to do. He just let me, come to the point when it was time for him to tell me. But it was something that I wanted to do. And so, nobody is waiting for you to do what you're supposed to do. It's your choice. You have free will. Following your heart's desire is your plan. So I thought it was really interesting that at the time of the full moon, the asteroids Utopia, where we're going, North Node, Angel, and then Apophis. I'm not sure how to say. I think it's Apophis. I know a lot of you like to hear about the asteroids. It means a broad scale cataclysm. So that will be on, like I said, the North Node of the United States at the same time that it happens in the sky. And then opposing Pluto at this full moon is going to be destiny. So again, the Tower energy is the phoenix rising from the ashes and destiny having a conversation. So again, we're talking about nurturing ourselves, nourishing ourselves, doing what makes us happy. That's a wonderful thing to do. Learning to put ourselves first, stand in our own authority, use our creative gifts in order to bring fulfillment to our work, or even if it's a hobby, directing your energy there is important right now, because that's what builds up our vibration. When we go to like a weekend where we're learning new teachings and spirituality, and we all come together for that, you can feel the vibration, and that's wonderful. Like I just was at the Astrology conference, UAC, and you could feel it. It's a wonderful feeling. but then you leave those places. And the best way to keep your vibration up and to, bring it up and then let it remain there is to every day have a daily spiritual practice, a meditation practice, walk in the woods, do things that make you happy every day. And that will keep your vibration up. And that'll be a lot easier during these next couple of months if you're in that space already. So if you don't have that now, then maybe look into developing some sort of spiritual practice. And then again, to work off that frustration energy, exercising, even if it's just taking a walk. If it's something that your body isn't used to doing, it's going to feel good. Mars is muscle, so we want to keep stretching and being flexible and working with our muscles, because as these changes come, it's easier for us energetically if our bodies are physically flexible. It's just easier to make the turn. So, okay, that's all I have for the next couple of weeks. I'm sure I'll be back in the interim with another video. I also wanted to mention that I still have the special on my website going on through the month of July. Someone had asked me to do a short video about my sessions. So a natal chart reading will a natal chart tells the story of you. It tells the story of where you've been and then where you want to go in this lifetime. And with natal charts, you can see where things went, how things went in past lives, and some things that are still you're carrying in your energy and then in your cellular memory, which affects your DNA. So with natal chart reading and healings, we do the healing work for those, and I do that with Metatron and with Sananda or Jesus. And then, if you don't want to do it with the natal chart, if you just want to talk to them and see what they'd like to say to you, that's where, the readings come in. So that's the options on the website that someone asked me to talk about. And my Facebook page is Astrology for Ascension. My website is astrologyforascension.com. You can email me with any questions that you have at jennyb@astrologyforascension.com. And then I have a Facebook group, Astrology for Ascension, which I would like to use for people to post their natal charts or just questions about astrology. So you can join the Facebook group as well. And everybody, hang in there. We're all in this together. Remember what Metatron said with that solstice video about the happy family, that we're all here to support one another and, get together with your friends who share the same ideas that you share. Being with like-minded people right now also helps to build the vibration and to hold that vibration. So anyway, take care, everyone, and have a great week. Bye-bye.